YouTube video number 2 today. This has been hanging on my wall for the last couple of weeks because I was waiting for a treble arm to arrive, which I had to bend into shape. It doesn't look quite right, but it works okay. So this is a Vantage. With no light, you're not going to be able to see what that says. It says Vantage. See, it's got like a sort of slope on the headstock. Around here, that's pretty cool. The Vantage thing. Yeah, and it's none more black apart from there's a red pinstripe. It's like a 3-ply scratch plate. There's black, red, black. But apart from that, everything else is black. I should use a black lead. Of note, check that input jack. It really does look like something out of Star Wars. Love it. Yeah. So this one is from 1984, I believe. Made in Japan. I think this is a Matsumoto guitar. It's got a sort of, if you look at West Tones and stuff, it's got a sort of look kind of like sort of West Tone-ish, roughly. But I don't, not exactly the same as any West Tones. Yeah. So basically it's a Strat, 3 single coils, 5-way switch, volume and 2 tones. I obviously had to look to see if the middle pickup was reverse wound, to see if I could do my humbucker fancy wiring trickery, but no, it's not. So I don't think they'd realised that you could do that yet. This is 1984, so it's quite early. I think it's got like a Strat trem on it. Don't know what kind of wood it's made out of, but it's high quality. So liney, no pedals, neck pickup. Position 4. Middle. Neck pickup, bridge pickup. And like a true Strat, there's no tone control for the bridge pickup. So it's sharp. Position 2 is lovely. Can't wait to get elixir strings on this. These are just the strings that were on it when I bought it. So a wee bit of an identity crisis with this one, I think, because it's done more black and it looks like it should be, well, to me it looks like Knight Rider or Airwolf or something, so I'm expected to sound like a synthesizer, or at least be metal, but it's not, it's a pure Strat. Yeah, so Vantage. Small history lesson on Vantage, I suppose, as far as I can gather, without actually having done any real proper research. So I've got 2 of them. This one, and I've got one there which I'll show you in a second. Matsumoto built, or they were at the start anyway, and they started in about 1979. They did guitars that were sort of, well, they did a full range of guitars, but the sort of most popular, famous one kind of looks a bit like a Washburn wing, you know, it's like a double cut Les Paul shape. Sometimes they had a through neck. I can't remember, was it like a VS 600 or something it might have been called? Something, or the VS series, kind of like that. So they made them, and they also did the Avengers, which are kind of basically, this is a later on Avengers sort of thing. So this I got in a trade a while ago, and I just couldn't believe how amazing it was. I just got it because of the colour. It's sparkly purple. So this is an Avenger, which is a cool name, but you can see it's got the same headstock. It's basically the same. It's not quite the same shape. This one doesn't have it's got different chamfers on it. It doesn't have one here. The one I was just talking about in the base. It doesn't have that, whereas this one does, like a Strat. But this is a stunning guitar. I absolutely loved. That was why I bought this one. Ooh, it's attached itself. Oh. Yeah, so like a lot of most of the Japanese companies seems to have done, Vantage kind of tarnished their name in after about 1987 or 88 when they stopped, when Matsumoto shut down. They went to Korea, and either that or they sold the brand to Zanuck or something like that in Korea, and you can get Strats which have this. They kept the headstock, but it's just a generic Strat body. So like Washburn and Aria Pro and all these things, once you get past a certain date cut off, 1988 or something like that, you get into the 90s, they just all produced sort of basically the same guitar. So this one is like I assume it's in sort of reaction to Washburn's BBR series, where it's like black guitars with red binding on them. This one doesn't have very much red, but it just looks right for it. Yeah, so not that I'm saying the Korean Vantages are bad. I had if you look back on my videos a couple of years ago, I bought an all maple acoustic that was pretty good. It was pretty brittle, pretty brash sounding, but it was entirely maple, so it was like it was quite punchy. But I didn't have room for it, so I had to sell that. But it was quite a good guitar. So I don't know, Vantage. Not that I'm saying that all the ones they made in the 90s, like all your Aria Pros and Washburns and all that, were rubbish, but they weren't the same quality as the earlier ones. So this is fun. I'm just keeping it clean, quite difficult. Sorry, go for the first pedal. First pedal, a really gnarly bridge pickup. Yeah, so that'll do me for that. But this is a really good guitar, isn't it? It's lovely. See, it's got the other thing to mention. It's got the bullet truss rod, being the best type of truss rod because you can actually get at it. You can't see it because of the light, but you can actually see which Allen key it is you're meant to put in it, rather than it being down a grubby hole that's full of fluff that you can never see, and you end up tuning up the head. So this one, that's a plus point. It's basically just a slightly pointy Strat. Although it's funny that the way the looks of these things just, doesn't look like it should be a Strat, but it totally is. As soon as you play it, it's just like, even though it is, there is none more black with a wee flick of red. Rock and roll. So Vantage guitars, if you're looking to trade in for against a Buckycaster or something, if you've got a Vantage, that might be to your advantage. God, rock and roll.